on the live, but we have both links in the profile for the Canadian afterwards. So we are live.
Hello, hello. How are you?
Good. I'm excited to be here.
It's super exciting. By the way, hi, I'm Dawn Chubai. I'm so proud to be Jane Stoller's host for her brand new book launch live stream, right? Organize Your Business Like a Boss. So thanks for having me, Jane.
Well, thank you for coming and helping me talk about all things business organizing, because I say it's a professional like yourself with your experience to help pull out the importance of what I do and how I can help more people.
Well, listen, we're going to talk a bit about how you're going to help everyone be a boss. But since people are here to hopefully shop while they are learning your 6-step system, I want to let everybody know how you can shop. So first of all, I'm going to look at you guys on Instagram right now. So I'm looking up here. If you are watching on Instagram or if you are watching on Facebook, you're just going to type shop. And what's going to happen is you're going to get, it's so easy. You're going to get a DM and you're going to get the link to be able to shop. And that doesn't mean you can't still watch us. You're still going to learn, but I would get in on this soon because we only have 50 of the copies with the autograph plate. Can you show your copy so everyone knows what they're getting? And then I'm going to let everyone know how. Maybe, do you have the one with the plate? Can we see the plate or no? Did you bring that one?
You know what? The plate is,
it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Let me tell you, if you are watching on YouTube or if you are watching on Facebook, you're just going to go and click the link either in the description or the comments. It's very easy. So super, super simple. And Jane, just to kind of get into this really quickly, first of all, I want to let everyone know the way this book is designed, and then we'll find out about, some of your system and why you created this. But when I worked my way through this, I literally felt like, okay, I got this. I'm a boss. And what's great is within each of your steps, it's like there are chapters within. So it's more than just looking at, hey, 6 steps, let me just do what Jane says.
So right. And it's I'm getting lots of nice questions on the side now too, which is great. But this is really a book for anyone who's, it's not an overwhelming book. You don't have to be stressed. You're already too busy to pick up another book on how to get organized. So it's a really simple process and you don't have to do it all. Just a few simple techniques, especially the time management portion. But it really is for that person who is overwhelmed with their business, with their home management, or with their time management to get a bit more streamlined. So a few comments about students, about what my favorite organizing tools are. We're going to get to all of those. But I think most importantly is this book is really for anybody who wants to just reclaim back their time. And it's not going to stress you out, this book. It's super simple.
Yeah, do you see I've already got, this is the kind of book that I will say you will refer to almost like your Bible. You will keep going back and back and back at it. And once again, just type shop if you are watching on Instagram or on Facebook or on Instagram or where was the other place? If you're watching on Instagram or Facebook, there we go. You're just going to go ahead and type shop. Now we will get to those questions, but I just want to say, first of all, we've talked about who it's for, but I want to also address that what happens with our business and maybe even deeper with our life, Jane, if we are not organized. Because I think to myself, okay, if I wake up today and I decide not to put away my clothes, I mean, no one's dying. Right. Yeah. No one's got that. There's an immediate, nothing, but overarching, what happens truly if we don't nip this organization thing in the bud?
Well, it's a lot of people say, I wish I could be more organized, or I'm so disorganized, or, I wish I had more time, or we are stressed in the morning. We start the day off because that shirt, we can't find it, or whatever it is. So yes, no one's dying if their closet is not organized, but we are losing time and starting our day off on the wrong foot. So it's really those little things that, oh man, I wish I just wasn't stressed because X, Y, and Z. So it's how do I reduce the little overwhelms and the little organizing tips that can really make your day more streamlined, make it easier for your family life, for your business life. So just a little bit of everybody can be organized, and this book will help you, because I say everybody has the ability to be more organized. It just takes 10 minutes a day, a few simple tips, and we can get there.
Yeah, and I see we have Gina Lee who is watching. We've got Jason, Chandra. We're going to get to her tips. We're going to get to Jane's tips. It's kind of part of your system. And so, when we look at this system here that you've created, it's as much about, yes, giving information, Jane, but it's also about offering a transformation. And I think one of the biggest questions people might have, especially as they're starting their business, what if I don't have 20 employees? Can I still read this? Is this fine if I'm a solopreneur, right? Who is this for that way from a business standpoint? And who is this not for?
Yes. So good question, because this does have organize your business in the title. So It does allude that you have a business. If you don't have a business and are thinking about starting a business, a side hustle, also a great read to get your, thinking about a foundation for your business. If you have a home that you manage and your home life is frustrated, but it really is targeted to that person who already is selling a product or service, and now you're overwhelmed. You're like, I need more systems. I need more structure. If you're just starting out, go for it. Start selling your product, start selling your service, make some sales, then come back and read this book in 3 to 6 months once you have sales.
Yeah, it's worth picking up though, because in the appendix, you can see I've got all my little,
I do have the appendix.
like the appendix in there is literally, so if you're literally just starting and you're not at the point where maybe you're working through the 6 steps, I will tell you, this gives you so much insight on creating your business plan and doing all the things that Jane really wants you to have at least started before you dive into the system. But let's go to the first step. And then again, we're going to continue to check all of those questions and throughout. But, you start with a bit of a quiz in here with the Master Your Time Management, which is step 1. And it really pulls back the curtain. But Jane, I'm guilty, right? Like every night I go, okay, what do I got to do tomorrow? And I kind of work on what's tomorrow? You encourage us to think tomorrow, yes, but big picture. And that's what this book helps you do.
Yeah, and you exactly said that right. So I don't want you to have 100 tasks on your tomorrow list because it's just too many. But in my steps, I love this little diagram here. Probably readers can't see it, but it's the 6 steps kind of laid out. This was my foundation of my course, and when I was in consulting, working for a big corporate alongside McKinsey, very similar steps, just a little more complicated. These ones are simple. So time management. The quiz helps you realize, okay, am I too overwhelmed? Do I need to focus on my time management? So it's an interesting quiz. It's not meant to stress you out. It's meant to help you think about your time. And that's what's really important. And then again, looking at your next day, not in terms of every little mundane task, but what are your big priorities that you need to get done that you maybe didn't from this day that can transfer over. But 7 big priorities is what I talk about in my book to really tackle, not 100 tasks.
All right. But I got Kathleen. So Kathleen, thank you for commenting on Talk Shop Live. By the way, if you are watching on Instagram, hello to you. Type shop to be able to see what we got going on with this book here. But Kathleen says, I'm a type A person. Are you drawn to the chaos of a type B personality like me? LOL.
I love all personalities. And I think, I work really well actually with type B personalities in business too, because I think we need both. And sometimes it takes a creative and a little bit of chaos and a structure strategist like myself to then get it more organized. I think both personalities are really important. And I am drawn to them a bit in terms of sometimes I'm too focused on the structure and the organization, where the creative and the chaos sometimes breeds a lot of great ideas, and they're really important too. So Kathleen, I love it. And we can all use a little bit more of both personalities, I'd say, because you don't want to be, you don't want 2 type A's sometimes just on a project or vice versa.
Yeah, I was looking. So I'm just going to pull one of my pages here. It's on page 26, actually. And by the way, if you're watching on YouTube, all you're going to do is click the link in the description and you'll be able to purchase Jane's book. It's an incredible price. We have only 50 that have the signed book plates. If you're watching on Facebook or Instagram, hi, you're just going to type shop and you're going to get this as well. But you talk about your top 4 priorities. And in particular, you also share your own focus priorities. Tell us about the 80-20 rule. I've heard about that for food. I've heard about, but I haven't heard about that from a standpoint of business. What do you mean by that?
So that's a kind of a general rule, like what you focus on 80% of the time. The big 80% to-do list is really where your priorities lack. And the other 20%, you know what, it might not be the priority. So with organizing, 80% of your closet may be organized, the other 20% not perfect. It's okay. 80% of your clothes that you wear most of the time should be front and center. The 20% can be in the back. I don't aim for perfection, even though Kathleen, you said, I am pretty A-type, but really 80% of the time you're focused on, your good 7 priorities. It lapses 20%, no big deal. And same with organizing. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Okay, but you do mention in the book too, that from a standpoint of 80-20, that because we're running a business, right? The majority does need to be, how are you going to make some money?
Yeah, and that revenue generating tasks in the time management block are super important. So where are you spending 80% of your time and how does it translate to a revenue perspective? So that's where I look at it in this book in terms of a business. I want 80% of your time on revenue generating tasks, and the other 20% can be on other stuff we're doing. Usually when I meet with entrepreneurs and they join my course and they do this time management quiz, we find out that it's usually the reverse. We're spending 80% of our time on busy work, things we think we're supposed to be doing, but they don't drive sales. And I think you and me talked about this yesterday, Dawn, that sales is scary. And I do talk a lot about this in this book. You have to start selling if you have a business. Likely 80% of your time will be on selling, and it should be, especially when you're just starting out.
Yeah, and I think we get to that right around step 5. You sound very organized, Jane. I mean, and listen, by the way, this isn't your first book, right? Decluttering for Dummies is another that maybe people have heard about. And again, you have a whole program. Gina Lee wants to know if you've always been a big organizer, maybe since a young age, little young organized Jane.
I talk about this as my story in my book because I think it's very cute. And it's also, at around Decluttering for Dummies, I did a lot of research on how clutter affects our mental health. And also I learned that around age 6 is when kids start becoming organized or disorganized. I just had twins that are 8 months old, so I can't wait to watch them grow and see if they're going to be organized or disorganized. But it's a natural habit. You can start to then shape them or give them tasks to get them on the organized path. But that is typically when we start to see those habits. Not to say we can't change them, but at 6 years old, I was organizing books, my pet cats. I lived on a farm and I was just very organized. I grew up with Swiss parents. They were structured and that country is very organized. And I do have those roots in me. There's culturally very organized, but very young, I was even in high school, I was organizing my friends' desks and teachers would come to me for advice. So it's always been in my genes and I'm so happy now to have it as a business and a book.
It's fantastic. We've only gotten through step 1. I know that we had somebody, Chandra, saying, what are your top 3 tips? Chandra, we've got 6 steps as part of Jane's system to help you organize your business like a boss. And there are so many worksheets and exercises to do. So this is really about you working through this in your way. And yes, Jane gives examples, but let me tell you, there's no business that you are running that this does not apply to. So I want to go into step 2. And by the way, after step 1, you are already going to see the light bulbs go off and you're going to start realizing, okay, I now know that there is a whole process here that is going to help set me and you up for success. So step 2, streamline your business processes. You break this down, Jane, into 3 clear steps. So it really is a true step-by-step understanding and things that we might kind of overlook sometimes as well.
Well, I always say we're so busy working in our business and we forget sometimes to work on the actual business itself. But I always say, like, if you can look at your business from a bird's eye view, what does it look like? Who are the people? What are the processes? And that step 2 is super important because it gets you to think, even if you're a solopreneur, you're one-man show, that's okay. Your business still has processes. How does your product or your service get to your customer? That's your, the sales process, the logistics process, how it actually gets there, the financial process. Do you do your accounting, or your receipts? Do you do it once a week? Do you have an accountant? If you do it yourself, what's the process? So all of those are really important. And I give so many examples in here. And working in operations for a long time for large companies too, we had this, it was very structured too. And with so many different people, you had to make sure it was documented. They knew how to do it. So we often forget to do this because we think it's boring and not necessary, but it's so important.
Yeah, I will say what's great. And once again, you've got these checklists in here. So what happens when you get this home, right? And I'm looking at, by the way, I'm looking at Instagram and I'm looking right here. Mine's a little higher than yours. So it's like, hi. I have to remind myself. But what I love about this, Jane, is that especially for someone who naturally feels a bit disorganized, sometimes, because we've seen these self-help books, we've seen coach books before, where it just seems like someone's telling you what to do and not necessarily getting to work through the process can in itself feel, Jane, quite overwhelming. And I think that's where a lot of people drop off. So you've actually created checklists and a document for people to fill out themselves. Now, would you say with your processes, is it we hear the term, SOP, right? Standard operating practice. Is that kind of the same thing that we're building in this chapter?
Oh, 100%. You can
Okay.
call it an SOP, you can call it a operating procedure, you can, whatever you call it the same thing, but business process, whatever it is. One of the things I say is name it the same thing, and name it and have everybody in the company call it the same thing, whether it's a sales process or a marketing process, finance or accounting, whatever. Everybody calls it the same thing. There is a template in there, and now with AI, you can have it so easily filled out and perfect. I actually wrote this book before a lot of the AI tools came out, but it's so easy to, like, this template gives you how to, if you were not here tomorrow, for some reason, your business could keep running with this process. Somebody could pick up this paper and say, oh, this is what this role does, this system, I can do this, no problem.
Amazing. Jasmine, I see that you're asking questions about organizational challenges, organizational habits. We're going to get to that when we get to the human resources management kind of area in this, because we want to kind of follow through a bit of those steps, but keep asking your questions. I see it's very, very busy in here, which is fantastic.
Yeah, great questions.
Yeah,
I want to answer them all.
It absolutely
Yeah.
is. So let me see if there's something we can answer here right now. Oh, here's one. George said, Jane, can you share a success story from someone who implemented your system? I mean, listen, I'm sure you have clients and students, but Glimmer Wine, hello. I mean, 2.5
that's
million.
That's my own company I started recently. So that's a good example. And we, we're a startup, so we were scrappy in the beginning and just had to sell product. And until that product was sold, I didn't know if we had a business, if we had repeat customers. Now that we do, and it's a real business, now it's going to be structured in terms of processes, HR departments, our time management, and we're growing. So that's an example of a business that is now implementing the 6 steps right away. So another example, I have a few clients that I always keep, there's testimonials on my website, but one of my first clients, she had a kids clothing store, and it was really overwhelmed in terms of shipping and logistics. And we really went down to where she was spending her time and how to get more sales and how to streamline that. So she was one of the first people that went through my course, also a medical aesthetics firm. And it's just a few, my founders of my course, I call them, they're the ones who implemented it right away. And I think the time management chapter and the financial chapter, really knowing your numbers, were the biggest takeaways for them.
Yeah, and I'm going to get to that in a second, but you did refer to testimonials on your website. So we had Peg Fitzpatrick, who is the author of The Art of Small Business and Social Media. She wrote, in Organize Your Business Like a Boss, Jane Stoller shares a simple 6-step system to help you reclaim your time and boost your process and all of that, boost your profits and your process, I'm going to say, without the burnout. So she, as somebody who would be almost like a colleague, fully appreciated how you were able to, really make this digestible. We also had Michelle, who said, before reading this book, I hadn't realized how deeply organization impacts success and freedom. So I know that a lot of you are watching right now and you're thinking, man, Jane's already hitting home right now. I need to organize my business so that I can reclaim my time. If you are watching on YouTube, you're going to click the link in the description. If you're watching on Instagram and Facebook, yes, I see you. You are going to type shop and you will get the link to shop right now. When we're not organized, Jane, we can't be productive in the way that really is necessary to help our business succeed and scale.
Yep. Exactly. And there's so many good questions in here too. And I always say, don't have to be the smartest or the prettiest or the best, have good products and services, but the most organized person in the room will usually show up really nicely in terms of the product or service. So getting organized is really that first step. I say, I'm not the smartest or the most talented in any ways, but I'm organized. And that's been my skill set to help me, from MBA's courses to creating businesses to working in corporate, whatever it is, it's being organized.
Amazing. We're going to get to the finances in a sec, but Sasha asks, what inspired you to write this book at this point in your career? Like, Jane, aren't you busy enough?
Oh my God, yes. I wrote it actually, this book is 5 years in writing after I had success with my course, my 6 Steps Business Booster course. I was doing it live and also evergreen, but really I thought more people need to understand and learn this system. And it's a way for me to keep sharing the system without burning myself out too, in terms of if the course, I did shut it down for a bit while I'm having kids, but this book is still the 6 steps in there. So it's a way to really capture them. I had actually written the framework of it 5 years ago, but it takes a long time to get an agent to go through pitch proposals, to do it all. Decluttering for Dummies came first, and then this was my baby that just came out in September. So it really is all my 6 steps in one nice package. Yes, the course is interactive and online, but this is really at work at your own pace. Take the checklist. You can also go on the book website. You'll get the digital checklist if you want, or template. So it's really a nice way to help more people.
Yeah, and I will say, as a brand new full-time entrepreneur, those of you that might know, I used to work in television, had a boss, had a pension, had all this other stuff, and then I decided to just bet on me. And I kind of thought, Jane, and I'm sure a lot of people feel like this, is like, okay, wait, I got something to offer. I'm passionate about it. It's just going to all work out. Sometimes, like the way life does. I always used to say life, I felt like I was winging it. We cannot wing it. And we hear this on Dragon's Den all the time. Like, if you don't know the money side of your business, you don't have a business. So I want to talk about the organized finances step, which is step 3 in your 6-step system. How important is it to develop a money mindset and to understand terms, financial terms, which, by the way, everybody, there's a whole appendix in here that helps you understand terms that you should know.
And the finance side is so important. And I was always scared of math in school and didn't think I was good at it. And you don't have to be. You just need to really know your numbers and know the basics of how to read a financial statement. You need to understand how to do your accounting, what a tax write-off is for your business. If you're going to have a business, you just need to learn this. And there's no way around it. I say this chapter has an entire chapter on, the basics, the appendix in the back for the terms. Of course, you can get someone to help you, a bookkeeper or accountant. But as a founder, I just heard this yesterday, especially if you're looking for an investor in your business or you want to sell your business, they want to know that the founders understand the numbers, understand how to sell, understand what your sales are. There's so many important things you need to know in terms of knowing those numbers. And everybody asked me, are you going to go on Dragon's Den for Glimmer? And I said, you know what? We got to get to the numbers we're comfortable with. We have to know them inside and out. We have to have, you need to be really prepared with especially that section of the book.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm looking at the questions. Jason asked, what are your favorite organizational tools? And you actually do share so many great tools that you use. And you actually give lots of options in each area. So since we're talking finance, do you have any tips on how to organize our finance as far as tools that you would recommend? Maybe just a sprinkling of what you've already included in the book here.
Well, my favorite tool is some kind of receipt tracking software. I use Neat, N-E-A-T. I've used it for 10 years. That's why I keep using it. It used to have the digital scanners you could buy, and then it's now an app. But any kind of receipt tracking software, I don't care what you use, just start using it to track your receipts for personal and business, so you can write them off and you won't lose them. I also love an accounting software. I love QuickBooks, and I was speaking with someone just the other day whose company they sold 100, what was it? Like, it was an insane number, like $1 million to 100 million. And they used QuickBooks, and it was like, yeah, it works. It's for small businesses to large businesses. So it is an accounting software that anybody can learn to use. And I think it's really important you have at least those 2 if you're starting a business. You can use a free one. There's Wave, but I do recommend QuickBooks and a receipt tracking software.
Hey, listen, anyone watching, continue to ask your questions, but I would be curious, for everyone that's watching, why don't you drop a note in the category of your business? So for instance, in my business, I work in essentially live stream shopping, sort of what we're doing here, which is a bit of everything. It's kind of like sales and marketing, it's creator, all of that. So drop a note in the comments. We want to know what category you fall into, because we might be able to cater this interview a little bit more. But I will tell you, Jane, I am so grateful that you really did actually encompass some very modern jobs and careers as well. If you comment on, hey, maybe you're a YouTube creator, right? Maybe so you've really encompassed everybody in this. So how important is it for industries that maybe thought understanding the business side of things? Like, I wouldn't have thought that a YouTube creator back in the day when I was, we're probably close to the same age. You might be a bit younger than me. Like, who would have thought that would have been a job? It's a very lucrative career if you treat it like a business.
Yeah. And there's so many, like, it's unbelievable what we're doing now that is actually a side hustle or considered a side hustle or whatever it may be. Creators, bloggers, now with AI, there's lots of different types of creators. So whether traditional brick and mortar business, you're going to have to structure it very similar in terms of your accounting and your finance to if it's a digital course creation business, whatever it is. And it's all, sometimes we downplay those businesses too. If you're a course creator or you're a YouTube creator or you're an influencer, you're making money on commission links, you're still spending money on software, on whatever it is, shipping, on, tools to help you grow, ad spend, all of that you can look at, is it a business expense? What do you have in your office that you're using on a daily basis? So I think of, if it's a business, if you're selling a product or service that is making an income and it's a reorder, so the repeat customers, that's typically where you're going to be, okay, now it's time to organize that business.
Yeah, and you have some great tips, great tools in here. I'm noticing we have a question from Karina, and this actually leads us next into our step 4, which is honing your human resources. She says, what role does delegation play in your organizational philosophy? So let's talk that first, and then I want to talk about your step 4.
So actually the delegation, Karina, is so interesting because the first step I do time management, and we actually do this exercise where we look at where you spend your time and should you be doing that? If not, should you outsource it, eliminate it, like outsource or delegate to someone else if you have a team, and or not be doing it. So that we there's these buckets in my spreadsheet that we go through when we do this task or time management tip. And delegation is a big one. And solopreneurs too, they're like, well, I don't have anyone to delegate it to. Okay, well, should you be doing it? Yes or no, you need to be doing it. Is there an AI tool? Nowadays we can use, I was on a course yesterday, there's Howie, there's Fixer for your emails. Howie's like an executive assistant. Can you outsource now to an executive assistant AI tool? That could be an option now for delegation. So we have a lot more tools that are disposal, but the first step is really figuring out, should you be spending time on it? Yes, no. If yes, does it need to be you doing it or somebody else? And do you have the capacity, the budget to outsource that or hire somebody or an AI tool?
Yeah. And again, it's all about, the sustainability side of things, which actually will come up shortly. So we're in step 4 of honing your human resources. So you do a lovely, is this your handwriting? Is this your neat handwriting?
Well,
here?
you know what? My mom's handwriting is there because she's an architect and her handwriting is beautiful. So she's done all of the illustrations in the book. Yeah.
I love it. Okay. So now I'm looking at this. I mean, most of us have seen an org chart at some point, even if it was when we were on it, maybe at the bottom.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, right. Like there maybe, but now as the CEO of maybe your home or your business, I look at all these places on these organizational chart. And the first thing I think, and I'm sure a lot of people have this question because they're probably going, but wait, I'm everything. So how do we deal with an org chart when it is just us? How does this fit into honing our human resources when we are the standalone human?
I love that question. And I love org charts. I always have. And I think we don't do them enough now. So as we're a standalone human, I still want you to put yourself, or, you're manager, you're the founder, you put your name up there. And then I want you to put different buckets. You are doing the finances yourself. So you can call yourself, the finance bucket, whatever you want, accountant or financial controller. You're probably doing the sales yourself. So I want you to put a sales bucket in there and your name on there. You're probably doing logistics. So how are you getting your service or your product to your customer? So you're the logistics manager. And you're probably doing some marketing to get the sales too. So you already have 4 departments that you are doing on a daily basis. So I love it when my clients map out their org charts, even if it's just one person and their name is on every single bucket. But you will see as you grow, we're going to need to kind of streamline. And from the time management exercise too, what's your zone of genius? Where's your first hires going? Organizational charts are so fun. They should be updated all the time. They should be chicken scratched on napkins and then shared with your team. I also say do a vision board exercise if you want to grow X. Let's see what it would look like from an organizational perspective. Are you a company that needs a lot of people, or is it more service? Like, is it more of a product where you're going to need, outsourced or agencies to sell? Whatever it is, what does your org chart look like? And that's going to help you understand too, wow, this is a people business. This is whatever business it may be.
Listen, if you're listening right now and you're thinking, my head is exploding, this is a lot. Like, I get it. I get it. You know, you've already got lots going on. The easiest way for you to go deeper into the very high level and still yet incredibly useful information that Jane is giving us right now is to go ahead. If you're watching on Talk Shop Live, I see you. I see you right there. Click on the shop button. You're going to be one of 50 who will get the signed bookplate version. This is very limited to be able to get the signed bookplate version. If you are watching on Instagram, hi Instagram,
Hi.
or you're going to just type shop. Okay. And if you're on Facebook, you're just going to type shop. And if you are watching on YouTube, there is a link in the description that will get you, if you are lucky, one of the 50 signed bookplate. Now, I want to quickly ask, first of all, I will also say the benefit of this is this book meets you where you are. This is a book that you don't read once, you don't work through once, and you put away. Jane, when you wrote this book, you brought it to life so that we could start now with our new business that maybe we're already making sales. So we got a business, but when we also scale, so we might be one person now, but we might be 100 people on that org chart at some point. And this book lets you rework through what you need to rework through.
Yeah, and this is why it's not complicated steps. They're really simple. And when I worked with in big corporate and consulting, and we did a lot of complicated structures and systems, and this is really simplified of that, and it really takes you from a starting to business to if you want to scale it to X amount of employees. So it's one of those books that I like to refer back to. I learned from Decluttering for Dummies. They're big on reference books, and the table of contents, similar to this book, you can always refer back to it. And you might not need to go through all 6 steps all the time, but you might do a read through, and then you're like, man, I really need to go back to the finance section because that's what scares me the most, or I need the most help with. So it really is one of those books that's more of a reference book you can come back to. There's lots of cute stories in there and stories that I relate to, my own businesses and working with clients. But again, use what you need because our time is limited and we don't have time sometimes to read an entire book.
Yeah, you might have to input that in the time management part because because there is a part of that where you get to personalize what you're, and again, I'm referring back to now the first step, right? Mm-hmm. Where you can personalize, like, where are you spending your time? Are you spending a certain amount of time on professional development?
Yeah.
Are you spending time crocheting? Like, is that part of what it takes in your 80-20 rule, which is a very big part of every single step in here when you think about it, to being able to build your business sustainably?
Yeah. And I think that sustainability is such a big thing right now, and especially the question that just got dropped about burnout. I can't really, it's hard because now we're so distracted. We're so busy. We have digitally, we're distracted. And I think Decluttering for Dummies, the biggest chapter was digital decluttering, how much our digital life is more cluttered now than our home life. Our computers, our phones, we're addicted to technology. So burnout is kind of real now because we think we need to be doing so much in order to really, we need to do it all. And I don't want this book to stress anybody out and say, oh my God, I'm not organized. I got to go through all 6 steps. No. Start small. Start with the step that's bothering you the most. And most people, it probably will be time management and finances. Those are the 2 biggest sections that people really struggle with. And a lot of people that were in my course too said, I don't know numbers. I have a bookkeeper. I don't even know them. And that's where I tried to really break it down into simple steps. Time management too. Where are you spending your time? And is it really on that? So you don't burn out. 80% on those sales. And how do we help you so you don't burn out?
Yeah, and let's talk about that. That is our step 5, refine marketing. So I'm going to say this is my jam. I worked in sales for the shopping channel. I sold $250 million in product. Woo! I sell myself every day. I could always be better. It's hard to sell yourself. And I think that's one of the biggest things I hear personally in my business, because I do train founders to be comfortable on camera. I do teach people sales skills. And I hear over and over again, even though people have a business and they built a business around selling something, either people, places, things, ideas, all of it, products, and they go, but I don't want to sell. And I think it's the hard sell, the feeling of bragging, the feeling of feeling like they're pushy, that probably feels the most disgusting, that makes it so hard for people to market themselves, Jane.
Oh my gosh. And I struggle with it too every day. And I started this business actually in 2017 or 2007 and had everything organized, like as typical Jane would. Organized business, nice logo, nice website. but I was scared to market myself. And that's where that's where it failed the first time. So I went back to corporate for 15 years. So, or 10. So then 2017, I started the business again, and I hired a coach, probably similar to what you do, and help to help me get comfortable selling myself in terms of what I can offer, and getting the confidence to know that if I'm not here doing this Talk Shop Live, somebody might have needed one piece of advice that I had given them, or one, if I don't show up on Instagrams, they're not actually thinking about, oh, I could organize that better. Oh, there's a tip I could use. So if we have something that is valuable to somebody else, we need to be showing up. And that is really where the sales come in. And the marketing chapter, I do talk about that. I say sales, we shouldn't feel icky. If you know your product or service helps somebody, like with Glimmer Wine, we know that it is a dealcoholized premium product. It is good. We really believe in this product, and a lot of people love it because it is dealcoholized, and I love selling it. If you know you have a course that's going to help somebody achieve X, Y, and Z, you need to start promoting that.
Listen, Jane, is it Kim Kardashian that is selling a thong that looks like whatever we know? If she can sell that, then you can sell your thing. My friends, Jane has made it so easy. She even made a marketing template for you that is in the book. You have a chance to get one of 50 signed book plates. If you're watching on Talk Shop Live right now, please do it before we run out. We're done in about 10 minutes or so. We're still going to get to more questions. Click on that shop. If you're watching on YouTube, go into the description, click on that button. If you are watching on Instagram, and Facebook, type shop and you will get a DM to purchase this right now. This particular link is for US orders only, but hey, fellow Canadians, if you're here, say hi. We're going to do another live coming up after that allows you to shop this very same item in our Canadian market. But I will say, what you've done here truly, truly, truly saves time and build confidence. And I will say, Sasha's done a great question here, because she said, and you've run lots of businesses and you've helped people run lots of business. And she said, how has writing this book changed you or your approach to your own business?
Oh, I love that question. And I'm just seeing Monarch MD, selling is serving. I love that, the way she put that. Selling is serving. You want to sell to serve more people. But Sasha has a good point. And writing the book it's tough, because we always have this imposter syndrome too, as women too. We always feel like, oh, do we really know what we're talking about? And when you write a book, it's, people are like, oh, well, Jane's not that organized if she's not. I'm not perfect. The business I have now is not perfectly organized, but it's getting there, and the steps are approachable and they're adaptable. So I think writing a book like this, or anything you're doing, you're putting yourself out there. It doesn't it's going to change and adapt. While I was writing it, I was like, oh, I could even make this better, or is this really the right thing? But it is the right thing right now to help people get organized. And that's what I had to keep focusing on. It also took a lot of organization and time to write a book and get it out there. So that took another chunk of time. But whatever we do, it can always be adaptable. And I think we need to believe that we have, I've got a lot of training and skills on business management as well, which I put in this book. So I do have that training and experience, which is super important to back it up. But again, I'm still learning. And still organizing businesses like my own.
Yeah. And I will say, and it's interesting you say that. I was coaching a former sportscaster who's selling sports memorabilia. And I said, one of my biggest tips is to continue to self-audit and to continue to grow. I remember years ago, and I don't even know if she does anymore, but I remember years ago hearing that Barbara Streisand still took singing lessons. And we know for a fact there are personal trainers that hire personal trainers, because there is always a way to self-reflect and to see, have we evolved? Do we need to relearn some of the foundations? Like, do we need to once again look at our marketing plan that you put right in here and see if it's still relevant?
Exactly. And it's one of those things that, technology moves fast too. So I try to avoid putting too much tech into this book, because that's going to change. Life changes, but the way even AI now coming into our businesses is changing so many things. But this is still a foundation, and the 6 steps are still foundation to any business, that you need to have a core to sustain it. So it is going to change the parts of it, but the foundation of the 6 steps is still there.
Yeah. And I'm trying to scroll, because I remember somebody, and apologies, because just in the effort of time, it'll take me a while to scroll, because Goodness, you're all asking so many questions.
Good question.
Yeah, and I think someone did ask about technology, and I think what you'll appreciate when you pick up this book, just type shop in the comments on Facebook and Instagram, and click the shop button if you are watching on Talk Shop Live. But even as technology evolves, we still need the foundation. It's like, calculators only go so far. At some point, you still need to do some basics of math. And I will say, I guess the question that I read, and I'm just kind of trying to paraphrase, was, have you had to adapt anything based on, since you wrote this book, as a result of maybe technology?
Oh, yeah. And the AI portion, especially, like Chat GTP wasn't even out when I wrote this book, because I wrote it 2+ years ago. So there's some updated now that I went back and updated before it was officially published, but still there is so much technology in terms of just the way you can do now, even time audits. You can use trackers, you can use different tools for your finance. Like you can be a CFO now of your business and use financial modeling tools now on with AI. There is so much updates in terms of the way you can look at your data, the way you can input, the way you can organize your files. It's done for you. You can share with your team members. It should essentially be easier, but it's still, we need to put pen and paper sometimes. And one of the questions up here that I wanted to answer was from Jason: do you keep a notebook or do you organize everything electronically? So I think this question is so interesting, because I still use an old school notebook, and I kind of use the Ivy Lee system, where I look at every day, I put down my top 7 priorities, I write them down, and those are what I kind of tick off through the day. So it's really old school. Electronically, of course, I use note takers, as we all do, but that pen to paper is, for me, still works. What it works for anybody else, it doesn't. But keeping those 7 priorities, looking at them through the day, still kind of helps.
Yeah, I wish I could still read my own handwriting. Do you know how many times I've written notes like that? And then I'm like, okay. So yes, if you can keep your cursive up, that would be helpful. Actually, our next question leads us beautifully into sustaining systems, and it is from, here we go, Jasmine. How do you recommend someone prioritize when they feel overwhelmed by organizational needs across multiple areas? And the reason I say that leads us nicely into sustained systems, because we're going to feel super good. Like, pat yourself on the back when you work through this and you go, okay, I'm exhilarated, I feel high, I feel great, right? But what happens is that we don't want to crash after that. So I think, Jasmine, you asked such a very important question, because there are going to be times of overwhelm. Sometimes I'm going to assume even when we're organized, because it might mean that we need to revisit.
Yeah, and we all get overwhelmed, and no matter how organized you are, and a lot of people like sometimes say, "Oh, you're never stressed because of this. You're so organized." No, of course, we all feel overwhelmed a lot of the time. And I think just being able to, like, our days change, like things change. We have to attack fires or whatever happens. And being organized allows you to, your schedule to have some fluidity. So for that question, I would just start really with step 1. Where are you spending your time? And when I work with clients too, I don't want their calendars to be full, so there's no fluidity in there. We need time to, if things come up, if there's an emergency meeting, if we want to have lunch, like they're really, how we structure the day is really important. And CEOs, even they need to have white space in their calendars for reflection, for strategy. That's where they do their work. It's not all about answering emails and meetings. It's about, where are we looking to the future?
Yeah, and I would say being busy on a calendar doesn't always mean being productive. And I think that's the misconception. Chandra said, how many pages in the book? Well, Chandra, there are more pages than I'm going to say, but I kind of took out the end, whatever,
Appendix,
some things. Yeah, appendix. Well, the appendix actually is still really, you add lots of value in the appendix, but I got us to the notes part, and I'm going to show you right there, 245. But if I go total, we're at 261 to get to the about author page. Okay, so this is like jam-packed. And what I love, though, is that you have truly made this so simple. So even though we're making things sound like this is really complex, it's really about having a roadmap. Yeah. And it's about planning. And then once you do that, I always say, this is with everything, all the hard work happens on the front end. But to keep this sustainable, right? Yeah. You actually even include that part in your 6th step.
Yeah, it's all about looking back, looking at your steps, updating them. This is not, you don't read this book or organize your business once and it's organized forever. quarterly updates, looking at, that's why it's not complicated. I don't want you to spend hours on these 6 steps. I want you to jot them down, go through the book, have the framework, and then go back to them. And one of my favorite chapters is actually run your home like a boss too. So sustaining your home life is so important, because if you go home and you're stressed after, how can we, it all has to be, home and business need to kind of be aligned. And to sustain your business, you also want to make sure your home is organized, or your home life in some aspect. You can find the blazer you need in the morning to get there, so you're not automatically starting your day off. So sustaining is really that all encompassing your business, your life, your time, and how do we keep, as you kind of said, adapting or editing or doing an audit on yourself.
Yeah, I think that's super important. Diana, hi, Diana. I had a great question. Is there anything that you had to leave out of the book that you wish had made it?
That's a good question. I think not really. A lot of the publisher was really big on, don't put too many tech tools in there, or tools that you need to reference back, or even websites, because that changes all the time. So there was some tools I was using when I first wrote this book that I did not put in there, or I didn't put everything that I do in my business to keep it organized, because it might change by the time the book is published.
Yeah, and I think that's really important. So if you're thinking of picking this up right now, you can be one of 50 that get the signed book plate. If you're watching on Talk Shop Live, hey, thanks for joining us. Press shop, and you're going to be able to add this to your cart immediately. If you're watching on Instagram or Facebook, type shop, and you will get a DM for that purchase. And of course, if you're watching on YouTube, everything is in the description. I think we have time for maybe one more question. Let me see.
This time flew by.
It did. I know.
I would love for everyone to, I would love to be able to connect with everybody. So, hop on my Instagram, or, I love sharing just tips in the book and whatnot.
Yeah. And of course, everyone can join us also to approvetoshop.com. We're going to be going there in about 12 minutes.
For Canadians too.
Yeah. And not that you can't watch it if you're, and vice versa. It's just, we're making it shoppable for Canadians, because I know we have a lot of people that want to pick this up as well. Thank you, Kylie. Sasha was really active, which was fantastic. Elizabeth, let's answer Elizabeth's question. Did any of your views change by the time you were writing this book to, I guess, now?
Yeah. And the marketing chapter, like, I am not a marketing expert by whatsoever, but I think my view on marketing, like just the tools, how AI has shaped things. It changes so fast from even generations. I'm still a millennial, just made the cut, but the younger generation, how they look at marketing. So that chapter was very difficult for me to put down into paper, and so much has changed as well. And I'm not the expert. I think every single business is, we're unique, but we're not unique in our structure and how we need to have, finances, HR, but the marketing side, I think, is really kind of adaptable to the type of business you're in.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, if I was to even just, I always hate the term dumb it down, but if I were to like put a different analogy out there, it's like, okay, everybody, there is typically one way we learn to walk. It's one step in front of the other.
Yeah.
But then there are various ways to walk. You can strut, you can skip. Maybe you have something that stops you from walking the same way that everyone else walks, but it's still walking. It's still progressing forward. And that's what this book has done. So you take, what will be true today and was true 10 years ago, other than maybe certain technologies. Yep. And then they're going to be true 20 years from now. And will there be other developments? Absolutely. But we're still walking.
Yeah,
you still got to manage. And this is the thing, although there are tools out there like Organize Your Business, like a boss, that will help you do all these things, you then are going to start to intuitively, Jane, and I think that's what you've done by making us do the work and not just telling us what to do. By doing the work, we are then figuring out our own processes based on a proven system.
Exactly. You said that so nicely, Dawn. I need to capture that. That's exactly what it is. You need to do the work. And the proven system will then help you, and the steps will help you kind of better organize your business. And we all have to do the work. And this is one of those books that's no exception. If you read a book and never do anything else with it, but it is really, it's just, if you apply a few simple strategies right in the beginning, it will really help you. And that's why I didn't want to lead with overwhelm, or there's so much you have to do, but there's not a lot of books on organizing the back end of your business. It's all on sales, or getting in front of people, which you all need. But the fundamentals, we don't all have an MBA, or we don't all need it. Actually, we didn't all go to business school, or in high school, they don't even teach this stuff. So it's really the basics of running a business as well.
Yeah, and I think, just to sort of wrap it up, I'm going to go to the introduction.
Yeah, sure.
Because I think, because this to me, like you just said something so important and you didn't want to overwhelm and you didn't want to, it's like there are rules, but there's not rules. And I think what happens when we deal with coaches and we read books, often we think of, okay, the people I admire, like, I don't know, I don't even know what Mel Robbins or Brene Brown's routine is, but let's say it's, I get up every morning at 5, I drink lemon water, and everyone thinks that is the prescription to be like those successful people. And what I love is that you actually say you don't wake up at 5 a.m. You don't read a book every day. You don't meditate for an hour.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that doing those things is wrong. You just wanted to let people know that everyone thinks that there's a rule, and there's not really a rule. It's about figuring out what's right for you so that you can do all the things like master the time management, like streamline your business processes, organize your finances, hone your human resources, refine your marketing, sustain systems. Because ultimately, we want to do something we can do and do it well so that we can thrive and survive in our business and life.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And I'm an executor. I like just get things done. And Martha Stewart had a quote too. She's like, I get up at 5 and I check my phone right away. They say don't check your phone for hours, it distracts you. But she's like, right away, she checks it. She goes on, looks at her latest blogs that are Martha Stewart Living. She wants to make sure everything's taken care of. So whatever works for you should be but if you're starting a business, you're probably, you're all in. You have no time for anything else. There's no balance at that point. It's just, you're working hard to get there. And that's where I struggle too with, the time management and the balance. And of course, now I wake up at 5 because I have twins, but otherwise you just have to fit it in terms of, if you really want to grow something you're passionate about that's going to help people, you need to find the time. And there's no proven approach on your mornings that'll change that, but there's a system that'll help you. And that's these 6 steps.
Yeah. And what you do is you save us time and manage our time by me not having to Google everything that I might want to know about running a back end of my business. It's like you've made it so efficient and an incredible price. And the first 50, we're down now, of course. We know that people have been purchasing. I can see the sales in there as well. Whether you're purchasing live or on the replay, there are 50 available of the signed book plate. After that, you don't get the signed book plate. You can still get the book. And it's as simple as pressing shop if you were watching Talk Shop Live. If you're watching on Instagram and Facebook, you're going to type shop. And if you are watching on YouTube, you're going to go in the description. Jane, I think we got to wrap it because we got to go live on Approved to Shop right away here. But what a whirlwind, and so many great nuggets in here. Highly, highly, highly recommend if you are a new business owner and if you are a long established owner that needs to reinvigorate that excitement, that motivation, and maybe learn some new skills. This is the book for you, Jane.
Yeah, I love it. And I know there was some questions we didn't answer. And if they could reach out on Instagram, that's great, because I'd love to answer them. There's some really that are about, how could small business owners maintain organization, a lot on the sustaining, misconceptions or myths about business organization. So interesting, because the biggest one I think is it takes a lot of time, but it doesn't. So take the time to just step away from your business, look at it from a bird's eye view, look at it from these 6 steps and say, what's missing? What's the priority? What do I need to focus on first to get it just a little bit less stressful of my day? And that's where you need to start, because I say organizing starts with 10 minutes a day. Just start there. 10 minutes, just say, I'm going to spend 10 minutes organizing my business, my pantry, my closet, whatever. You don't have to do it all at once. Just start with 10 minutes.
I love it. Baby steps to big business, to being a boss. Organize your business like a boss. Jane Stoller, thank you for having me as your host here on Talk Shop Live.
Thank you for having me.
Well, hey, listen, you welcomed me into your home.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And keep the conversation going, everybody. Be sure to watch the replay over and over again. I know we went through it quickly, and don't forget to pick up your book. Thanks, Jane. I'll see you soon.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.